Thank you. I thought the talking something about clinical medicine in this forum um, is not the right thing to do. But when I heard the number of moderators and chairpersons for this, I thought, clinical medicine still has some relevance. Second heart sound is the master key for diagnosis of various heart diseases, particularly congenital heart diseases. If you look at the basic cardiac cycle, the second heart sound marks the onset of clinician's diastole. The one between first and second sound is systole, and second sound to the next first sound is diastole, where when the physiologist diastole starts somewhere in the peak of LV pressure. The second heart sound coincides with the semilunar valve closure. It is not the slapping of leaflets that causes this sound. When the leaflets get tensed up, due to the backward pressure of the reversed flow in aorta, as well as the recoil of aorta, the leaflets are made to close. When they tense up, they set up the vibrations, not only on the leaflets adjoining bloodstream, as well as the root of the great vessels. That causes the second heart sound. Normally, the second sound split is well heard over the second and third left interspaces close to sternum. Even in the left second space, the so-called pulmonary area, it is the A2 that is louder than the pulmonary component. Pulmonary component is generally confined to left second intercostal space, at the most third one. And when it is heard over the apex, it is considered to be louder. Over the apex, it is generally the first heart sound that is louder than the aortic component. If you look at the intricacies of cardiac cycle, the LV pressure starts rising first. But if you look at the ejection into the pulmonary artery precedes the ejection into the aorta. On the contrary, end of ejection outlasts in the pulmonary circuit when compared to the systemic circuit. Means the right ventricular ejection encompasses the left ventricular ejection. Since the right ventricular ejection goes beyond the left ventricular ejection, it is obviously the pulmonary component is going to follow the aortic component. But most importantly, the reason for the pulmonary component to follow aortic component is the existence of hangout interval. When the ejection gets over, due to the inertial forces, the blood continues to flow into the aorta or the pulmonary artery for some more time. That's called as hangout interval. Because of the higher resistance, lower compliance, and the effective recoil of the aorta, hangout interval is much shorter in the left systemic arterial side when compared to much longer hangout interval in the pulmonary circuits. But there are certain other reasons for the inspiratory split of the second heart sound. One is hangout interval contributes to nearly 50% of the split of the second heart sound. During inspiration, systemic venous return increases. That is expected to prolong the right ventricular systole to a certain extent in spite of Frank-Starling phenomenon. And then during inspiration, the left ventricular gets underfilled because of the lowered gradient between the pulmonary vein and the left atrium. I have given some arbitrary values for the left atrium and pulmonary venous pressure in inspiration as well as expiration. So these three features are responsible for the split of the second heart sound. The split can be physiological. In expiration, the A2P2 interval is 20 to 30 milliseconds, which is close to the discriminatory capability of human ear. So it appears single in expiration. In inspiration, it widens to 40 to 90 milliseconds, generally 40 to 50 milliseconds. So easy to remember, 20 to 30, 40 to 50. In persistent or expiratory split of the second sound, it is nothing but widening of the split of the second sound. In the expiration itself, you will be able to hear at the bedside split of the second sound, maybe 40 milliseconds. It further widens in inspiration. Fixed split, The A to P2 interval remains the same in both phases of respiration. Paradoxical split is the exact opposite of what happens in physiology. In expiration, the split occurs, and in inspiration, it becomes single. Looking at the causes of widening of the second sound split, it could be because of delayed P2 or because of the preponement of aortic valve closure. Delayed P2 can be due to electrical causes like RVB, etc., or mechanical causes like RVOT obstruction, right ventricular dysfunction, or the prolongation or the hangout interval because of the decreased pulmonary arterial impedance in the following conditions: idiopathic dilatation of pulmonary artery, partial anomalous pulmonary venous connection, postoperative ASD, etc. Early A2, because of reduced LV ejection time, is a feature of significant mitral regurgitation, large VSD, and at times constrictive pericarditis. Fixed splitting is a feature of large ASD. Why is it fixed? During inspiration, systemic venous return increases, left radiation decreases. In expiration, the contrary occurs. The systemic venous return decreases, and to compensate, you have increase in left radiation across ASD. So, both phases of respiration, the A to P2 interval remain the same. In other words, A2 and P2 move in the same direction in inspiration and expiration, accounting for the fixed split of the second sound. Another important reason for fixed split of the second sound is the advanced right ventricular dysfunction, where the right ventricle is not able to improve its output during inspiration in spite of increased venous return. Paradoxical split, here the pulmonary component precedes the aortic component for some reasons. During expiration, the P2A2 interval is, for example, 40 to 50 milliseconds. During inspiration, since the pulmonary component is expected to move towards aortic component, it becomes single in inspiration, contrary to what occurs in healthy individuals. Paradoxical split of the second sound could be because of electrical delay, LVB being the typical example, or mechanical prolongation of LV ejection, as in severe LV outflow obstructions, severe hypertension, severe LV dysfunction, and acute myocardial infarction. This one is not well known to most of us. Hangout interval on the systemic arterial side can increase in certain conditions like large PDA, severe aortic regurgitation, post-stenotic dilatation of aorta, and aortic stenosis. So these conditions can also give rise to paradoxical split of the second sound. If not at the bedside, at least phonocardiography will be able to demonstrate this phenomenon in this condition. Very rarely, early occurring pulmonary component, as in WPW syndrome with the earlier RV excitation, can also result in paradoxical split of the second sound. This is always a source of controversy in the examination. Majority of the examiners do not approve the description of second sound being closely split. Either fixed split or widely split or paradoxical split, or it appears single. But I personally believe that we can make out closed split of the second heart sound at the bedside. It generally appears as an impure second sound at the bedside because the A to P2 interval is not going to be much wider for the human ear to discriminately listen to both the components, but it will not appear as a discrete sound, it will appear as some duplicated second heart sound. This occurs in pulmonary hypertension because the hangout interval, which is 50-60 milliseconds, gets shortened when the compliance of the pulmonary circuit or the resistance of the pulmonary circuit increases. In the same condition, if right ventricular dysfunction occurs, mechanical prolongation of the RV systole is responsible for the wide split of the second sound. So in pulmonary hypertension, what occurs first? P2 moves closer to A2, resulting in closed split. When the right ventricular dysfunction starts, it becomes wide split of the second sound. At times it will be fixed. And the conditions characterized by single second heart sound, it can occur when A2 and P2 occur simultaneously, as in large BSD with pulmonary hypertension or single ventricle, or it could be absent pulmonary component in conditions like severe infundibulary pulmonary stenosis, as in tetralogy of Fallot, DORV with the PS, or absent pulmonary component in conditions like pulmonary atresia, absent pulmonary valve, and truncus arteriosus. Absent A2 occurs in calcific AS and in infants with aortic atresia. Coming to intensity of the second heart sound, A2 can be louder whenever the closing pressure is high, as in systemic hypertension, or whenever the aorta is dilated, as in Marfan syndrome, aneurysm, etc., or when the aorta is anteriorly placed, as in TGA and tetralogy of Fallot. A2 becomes fainter, obviously, in calcific aortic stenosis. Looking at the intensity of the P2, it becomes louder when the closing pressure is high, as in pulmonary hypertension, or when the pulmonary artery is dilated and in close proximity to the chest wall, as in ASD, IDPA, thin chest wall, straight back syndrome, and in children. It becomes softer in obstructive lesions, valvular pulmonary stenosis, and infundibular PS, and when pulmonary artery is away from the chest wall, as in transposition of the great arteries. Coming to certain situations where second sound really helps in establishing the diagnosis, a cyanotic child with systolic murmur in the left second space, the diagnosis, differential diagnosis to be considered, ASD, valvular PS, and outflow VSD. Look at the way in which second sound helps in discriminating between these three conditions. White fixed in ASD, pulmonary stenosis, it is delayed soft P2, and in outflow VSD, it will be white, but it will move with respiration, pulmonary component being a little louder. Another example, acyanotic patient with systolic murmur, lower left sternal edge. It could be VSD, it could be TR, it could be double chamber right ventricle. Look at the way in which second sounds, characteristics help you to differentiate between the conditions. Wide split with pulmonary component being louder in large VSD, particularly when the pulmonary vascular resistance is not very greatly elevated. If pulmonary hypertension is responsible for TR, close split with the accentuated P2 component. In non-pulmonary hypertensive TR, second sound behaves normally. In double chamber right ventricle, it will be something like any other RV outflow obstruction, delayed soft P2. In pulmonary hypertension of unidentified etiology, in idiopathic PH at the bedside, close split of the second sound can tell you that it could be idiopathic. Single second sound, PSD PH. Fixed split, ASD PH, and normal split of the second sound favors PDA with PH. Then second heart sound in cyanotic congenital heart disease, single second sound, characteristic of VSD PS physiology, as in TOF, DORV, tricuspid atresia, etc. It could be single as well as loud in certain situations like TGA, CTGA, and truncus arteriosus because of the anteriorly placed aorta. Wide split in a cyanotic child with wide split of the second sound favors the diagnosis of TAPVC, at times ASD, and pulmonary hypertension. In a cyanotic child or cyanotic adolescent with normal split of the second sound is a feature of PDA, pulmonary hypertension. To differentiate between tetralogy of Fallot and pulmonary stenosis with reversal across the atrial septum, again second sound can help you. It is single characteristically in tetralogy of Fallot. In pulmonary stenosis with reversal across the atrial septum, it is delayed soft P2 that characterizes the situation. Could any one of you tell what would happen to the second sound in severe peripheral pulmonary artery stenosis? Any volunteer? It is generally not louder because the obstruction is in the peripheral pulmonary arteries. The systolic pressure is higher in main pulmonary artery. Actually, one of my patients was diagnosed to have idiopathic PH from infancy, proved to be peripheral pulmonary artery stenosis, which Dr. Sivakumar handled, and that adult is doing well now. Actually, if you look at the diastolic pressure, it is something like the ventricular pressure in peripheral pulmonary artery stenosis, the so-called ventricularization of pulmonary arterial pressure. So the second sound split characteristically is normal even in severe peripheral pulmonary artery stenosis. What happens? The pressure in the main pulmonary artery is higher, systolic pressure. So when the ejection is over, the distended pulmonary artery effectively recoils, pushing the second sound to close at the appropriate time. That is the reason which is quoted for normal behavior of the second sound in severe peripheral pulmonary artery stenosis. So this is how analysis of the second sound helps you to establish the anatomical diagnosis. Level of left to right shunt can be diagnosed. You can assess the disease severity. For example, large shunt, wide split of the second sound. Semilunar valve stenosis, again it helps. AV valve regurgitation, it helps. It helps you to understand the physiology in people with complex cyanotic or cyanotic congenital heart diseases with decreased pulmonary blood flow or increased pulmonary blood flow. Second sound helps you to differentiate between the widely divergent physiological situations. Thank you very much.